What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the third major label album by country artist Kacey Musgraves. This new album is something that I have been highly anticipating considering I loved her debut album, Same Trailer, Different Park, and its follow-up Pageant Material. The new record is called Golden Hour. If you somehow missed out on my review of those first two albums, I did a 2-in-1 review. Not a ton of people saw it, so please go check that out after you get done watching this one. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous to hear new material from Kacey Musgraves, just because so many of my favorite bands and artists over the past year or two have really been letting me down, and I hold Kacey in such high regard. I hoped that she would do something great, but I just wasn't sure. She dropped the two lead singles, which was of course Butterflies, and then the other track Space Cowboy, which no, is not an ode to the frequent Lady Gaga 2008 collaborator Space Cowboy. It's like Space Cowboy, like you can have your space cowboy. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have had to explain. I absolutely adored the lush, dreamy feel of Butterflies, and it only grew on me more and more with time, and I also really do dig the spacey vibe of Space Cowboy. It grew on me as well, and I was really surprised at how much I was coming back to both of those singles. And I obviously went back, listened to her first two albums in preparation for this, and when I listened to Golden Hour for the first time, jaw dropped. This thing is fucking beautiful. This album is insanely well done from start to finish, and it is such an atmosphere. This is such a lush and rich album in terms of its laid-back instrumentals, and Kacey Musgraves as a vocalist knocks it out of the damn park. She's so insanely talented, and her melody writing, her songwriting in general, it's improved on all fronts, and while these tracks don't necessarily have one that just leaps out and says, oh, play me as the single, or play me here, this is an album's album that should be listened to from start to finish because it finds someone in their golden hour, quite literally. Kacey Musgraves just got married, she's doing all of these other great things that she's proud of, and this is one of those albums that just almost instantly, despite having a few modern references, feels timeless. This could have come out in 2002, and if you scrubbed out a few references, like I said, I wouldn't know the difference because this record is so freeing. It's liberating to hear something that's not trying to shove an angle down anybody's throat, I don't feel like. And I know that I love politically tinged music so many times, and I love protest songs, and I love other things, but it's so nice to hear something that doesn't seem to have any other motivations other than love and being content in life. While I do feel like some people are going to complain about the fact that the sass factor isn't there for Kacey Musgraves, she's not serving up some of these tracks like Step Off or even Biscuits. This is an album that once again is very refined and not necessarily broad and eclectic in the sense that there's a lot of different musical influences, but it's a step away from what she was doing before and a further diversion from the mainstream in a way. It's not something that's super pop, it's not something that's extremely country. You're gonna hear steel guitars in there, but you're also gonna hear a lot of really cool bass lines and some nice guitar grooves and just a feeling in general that makes me personally feel like I'm just coming out of a meadow. I'm waking up to the sun on a spring or summer day and everything is bliss. There's nothing really weighing you down or on your mind, and this is such a freeing experience. Happiness is in abundance on Golden Hour, and while there are sad moments and ones that are a little bit sassy, once again, look to High Horse if you're looking for something like that, which I could see being a good single for country radio, and in fact I like the song very much, but it's not quite as bitter as some of her past stuff, and I like that. I like this new perspective that she's in right now. But some of the tracks that really spoke to me right off the bat and put such a huge smile on my face because they're so radiant, so lush, and so positive that I just want to dive into it like it's a giant pool. The first of those being the opening track that instantly won me over. It's called Slow Burn. This one is talking about how she hasn't been early for anything since she was born in 1988, but she doesn't mind the fact that she's taking her time and the fact that it took a while for her to get to her golden hour, or her peak, I suppose, so to speak. This track speaks volumes about Musgraves' character and the way that she sees the world in general, and that slow instrumental immediately draws you into the atmosphere. It's so good. It's so luscious and just vivacious. It's something that can bring really any of the words that she's singing to life, and it's incredible, truly. I also have a lot of love for some of the other cuts like Wonder Woman, where Musgraves talks about how she can't do everything, and it's another witty track, and I like the metaphors and comparisons there. And then we have Love is a Wild Thing, which is very full in terms of its guitars, and I also like the drum pattern on that one, and also on Happy and Sad. It's a little bit more of a clicking drum rhythm that doesn't feel necessarily hip-hop, just a little bit more modern influenced, and I like that. It's able to divert your attention just for a second to make you think, okay, what she's doing here, she's changing it up just a bit, and it also has some really cool lyrical content there that I'm thoroughly enjoying. I'm so entertained by the writing on this record, and just the musicianship. Once again, it's one of those spacious records that you can just live in. It's like you're in a room of padded walls, not like you're held against your will. It's just like everything is clouds and pillows and rolling hills, and you're in there and you don't want to get out. You just play the record again. I'm building all this up for a reason. I'm mentioning all of these things that I'm able to imagine when I listen to the album because I'm building up to my favorite song on the entire LP. It's track number 4, and it's called Oh What a World. This one in particular really just made tears fall from my eyes, quite literally. It's so beautiful. It's not a sad track, but it's something that makes you think about the world and the life around us that we do not take an advantage of. We don't grab onto life like we should sometimes. And this track in general just makes you think about that, and it makes me smile so big because not only is the musicianship so rich, so strong, and even dare I say bold, but the songwriting here and Musgraves' voice is so confident, silky, smooth, and radiant. It shines like the sun, and it is the star here. Fair warning, immediately after that track, prepare to go into an emotional freefall as we hit track number 5. That is a very short song, but it's called Mother. That's something that Musgraves said that she wrote about missing her mother, and her mom obviously lives in Texas, as that's where Musgraves is originally from. She's constantly in Tennessee, she's married now, she's on the road a lot with touring and her music and that sort of thing, and supporting her husband obviously as well. And I think that this track in particular was the one that really got to me on such an impactful level and just truly made me sad, because I've been in those positions, and maybe it's not always a mom that you put there, but I'm in a long distance relationship myself. And this track just made me tear up because it's talking about the distance between two people. And here she sings about her mother and just the pain that she feels not being connected with her, someone who she considers as one of her best friends. You can see the hurt in her, and I love that. And she also sings here over this very gentle melody, something that I love the piano progressions here, and the way that her voice has that little swell and almost a little valley, and the ba-na-na-na-na. I can't even emulate it. I'm not even going to try to because I'm just going to ruin it. This is an amazing piano-led track that is so down-to-earth, very somber, and really stirs something in the listener. I know it did me. I also have a lot of love for Lonely Weekend. It's something where I feel like we get a true down-to-earth perspective on what's going through Kacey's head on just a weekly basis as she details her week. Things didn't exactly go as planned. She's trying to make time for this significant other, aka her husband, in her life, and things aren't always lining up. And I think this could apply to a lot of things. Even people I could see applying this to a friendship where you're just not able to get together or be on the same page. But she also talks about contentness because she's okay. She's rooted in her love. She knows that the love that they have is so strong that it doesn't matter if she occasionally spends a weekend alone. And the instrumentation here is a lot of fun as well. Loving the kind of forlorn guitars there. And it's a very country dip tune, as is obviously much of this record. But like I said, it's not so overtly country that you're constantly paying attention to the fact that, oh, there's a banjo or there's a steel guitar. They're in the mix, but everything is almost a little bit washed out, almost a little reverb soaked, so you're not immediately drawn to that. So people who aren't a fan of country or not a huge fan of country out there watching this video, check out this album no matter what. Trust me. The title track is a great summation of exactly where Kacey is at this point in her life. I love how poignant that track is. And then we have the closing moment, Rainbow, that I really do dig a whole lot. It's something where I had high expectations because just recently I was listening to Kesha's Rainbow. I'm talking about the title track from that album, and I was thinking about how beautiful it is. And this track is also very beautiful. They shouldn't really be compared, even though they're both slower songs, and they also have that meaning of like the silver lining or maybe the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Everything's looking up, and I feel like on this track, Kacey Musgraves is singing to her husband. It's something where she's giving him this reminder that, hey, you know, the rain, it actually ended. You didn't even notice it, but it's actually not not raining, so to speak, anymore. So let's go out and live our lives to our fullest and just be the best that we can and be happy together. Another little tear to the eye there, a great slower closer to the album. Therefore, the only track that I'm not that crazy about is Velvet Elvis, just because I feel like it's out of place on this album Golden Hour. It's a little bit more silly, I suppose, and it doesn't fit in with the rest of the songs, which are more love-oriented, or maybe even, like, obviously parent-driven, and just love in life in general. And then Velvet Elvis kind of sticks out. It's not a bad song at all. I don't want it to come across like I'm dissing this song completely or anything like that. I just think maybe it would have been more at home on same trailer or pageant material, but then again, maybe that's just me. It's still kind of charming in an odd way. Love this record, guys. Love the new one from Kacey Musgraves. I am so pleased with the results that we got here on Golden Hour. I hope you guys will check this out. I know that she's not extremely widely known, especially probably among my viewers, but please stream the album down below, buy it, whatever you need to do. Check out and support Kacey Musgraves. I really hope that I get to see her on her next tour. We'll try and make that happen. Anyways, for me, on this new album, Golden Hour, her third album, I'm gonna give this a strong 4.5 out of 5. This is blowing my mind. 2 4.5s back to back. That is rare. Drop a comment with your thoughts on the album down below, and please smash the like button while you're here and subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you would like to support me on Patreon at this annotation in the corner, see my other Kacey Musgraves double review right over here, or another recent video I did on the channel right over here. Socials in the description, and I'll see you soon on ARTV.